It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog. Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and it's Christmas time at the Northwoods. Ho ho! Come here and eat Miss Callie Alice. She's Santa's helper this year. Oh! Callie Alice. Callie, come here. Come here, Callie. Come here. Come here. Come here. Feet. Come here. In position. Oh, yeah, Santa's. Oh. In order. Hello to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hey. Oh, yeah. Oh, way in the back. Come here, come here. Come here. Sit, put it. Sit, put it. Oh, say hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Well, we've got lots of episodes this year to do for you, and we're going to try to have a new one every week. And our first one we're going to try to do is our Gingerbread House. Now, this is... a lot of different ways of making gingerbread. You can make it into a cake, you can make it out of cookies, etc. And what we're going to do is the old-fashioned way of making it out of a cake. So what we're going to do first, it's going to be, the recipe I'm going to give you is for one batch. And we're going to do 2 pans, 9 by 13 into the flat baking cake pans. And what we're going to be doing is one full recipe in one pan and half a recipe in the other pan, because the other pan is going to be the roof. And so we need half a recipe. It's going to be shallower and thinner, so it's lighter on top. I made the same recipe twice, and I found out that the roof is way too heavy. So you only need half a recipe, and we'll just make that thinner. So, to the recipe. First of all, we have a half cup of melted butter, and this goes into our mixer. And cool it down though, let it cool down, otherwise it's going to melt the sugar really bad. So you just want to make sure it's cooled melted butter, not hard, just melted. And to this we're going to be adding 1/2 cup of sugar and 1 egg. And remember, I always crack my eggs on the countertop, that way you don't get shells. If you crack it out on the edge of the bowl, you end up with broken shells in the batter. Now we just mix this until it's light and fluffy. This will take about 2 to 3 minutes. So while that's mixing, we have the dry ingredients, which is 2½ cups of white flour and 1½ teaspoons of baking soda and a teaspoon each of cinnamon and ground ginger. And then of course we got to have kosher salt, and we need a ½ teaspoon of salt. Now remember too that I always use the kosher because it's less sodium, so it's healthier for you, and it does give your baking products much lighter and fluffier. So always remember to use your kosher salt when it calls for salt in baking. Now that's all nice and fluffy, and we need to take and mix that up, the dry ingredients. And I just use a wire whisk because that helps to aerate and mix up your dry ingredients really nicely. And now for the wet ingredients. And so for this we need 1 cup of hot water along with a 1/2 cup each of honey and molasses. And just make sure you spray your little cup, because then your honey and molasses are going to come out really slick. Comes out really nice. See, it just pours right out. And that was a 1/2 cup of molasses, and then we need a 1/2 cup of honey. And this is the honey that I got from the state fair. Oh, I still have this. They don't give it out anymore, but when you used to enter, they used to give you out a big bottle of honey just for entering. But now, because the price of honey is so expensive, they don't give it out anymore. Not even if you win something. So now we just take and mix these together so that they're melted in together and fused together. Oh, Santa's helper is coming. Oh, she wants a sample. Is that what you're here for, Callie Allies? You want to sample the dough? Oh, look at it. Oh, yeah, you do. Look at you. Oh, okay. Oh. So we'll just put this on stir, on low. And we're going to alternate with the dry and the wet. So I first put in about 1/3 of the flour mixture, and then about 1/2 of the liquid. That mix up together. And then we'll add another 1/3 of the flour and the rest of the liquid and the final flour. And I'll just mix the rest of this up by hand. Get my wooden spoon, because we don't want to over-activate that gluten to make it rubbery. And then we just take our 9 by 13 inch pan. But this is the baking pan. And make sure you spray it well. And I got 2 of them, so I'm going to put 1 full batch. That's this one here. We'll put this into this pan. And this is going to be the foundation for the house. So this is going to be a heavier cake. And then we'll just take and just redo the batter, but only cut the recipe in half. So then we'll just take and just redo the mix, and we'll put 1/2 in the other pan, and we'll bake both of these, and then we'll come back and assemble the gingerbread cake. Ain't that right, Callie? Yeah! Okay, smell-o-vision. Smell the ginger. Oh, it smells wonderful. Okay, now these are the 2 pans that I have. And this is the thinner cake, so this is going to be the roof. So these are still warm yet, and they're not completely cooled, but we're going to take and cut this in half. Just make a light score, and make sure you use a serrated knife so you don't rip the cake to pieces. And then you can take and cut it again when it's cooled completely. Now for the foundation. What we want to do is find our halfway point and cut down to about 1/3 of the pan. So we have our 2 rectangles. Start in the middle of the pan, go down 1/3 and over. Same way here, in the middle of the pan, go up 1/3 and over. Now, to make the gable ends of the house, you want to take the corner of the square and go down at a 45-degree angle on both sides here. And this will be the end of the house. And now you got these 2 triangle pieces. You want to go halfway in between the points there and score. Halfway between there and score down. And then these 2 pieces are going to be put together to form the chimney. So now we'll just let these cool completely, and then we can go back to assemble. And remember now, this was baked at a 350-degree oven for only 30 minutes for the thicker one and about 15 to 20 minutes for the lighter one. Okay, now it's time to put the gingerbread house together. This is my frosting, which is the same frosting that we used on the Kranzakaga cake. It dries hard. It's almost like a royal icing, so it dries hard and holds together really well, almost like cement, but it's still edible. Is that right, Miss Callie? Oh, wait for samples. Look at that. So, let's put our house together. Now, we scored everything. So now we can take and just go through and cut down to the bottom and make sure everything is cut all the way through. You want to make sure that this was cooled so that it doesn't break as you take these pieces out. Because if it's still warm, they're going to bend and pliable and they'll break on you. Okay, now the corner ends, or the wall, the end pieces, and this is going to be on the outside wall. The top will be on the outside, because the underneath, that's going to go on the inside of the house, so you don't see that then. And these are going to go on the ends, along with one wall. And with the wall, we're going to glue it together with the frosting, put that together here, and then we insert toothpicks, which act like nails and holds it together. Now we're going to move this towards the end of the tray, so that we can have some room in front in case you want to do a little scene. So I just took my icing and put it in a decorative bag with this little round tube at the end. This way the frosting can come out and just work like cement. It's like a trowel. And we need to get our toothpicks. I have plenty of toothpicks on hand. And you might need somebody to help you to hold up these pieces as you're putting them together. Callie can't lend me a paw, but she will lend me her mouth. Ain't that right, Miss Callie? You'll eat it, but you won't help me hold it. No? Yeah, you'll hold it all right between your teeth. And we won't have a gingerbread house. No gingers. No gingerbreads. No. Yeah, now this is working much better. When I did the other recipe, I did one before this, it didn't work out. I had to take and throw it away. Well, I mean, you can eat the pieces, but I mean, it didn't work out as far as making the house goes, because I had two recipes the same size, but when I made that roof and put that on top, it was so heavy it just broke right through. So I figured, okay, let's just do a half a recipe so that it's lighter and we'll spread it out more thinner. I think that's going to do it. Is that right, Callie? We'll see. And there's our glue. This reminds me of, the glue reminds me of cement. When, like in a log cabin house, in between the logs. When I was growing up as a kid, we lived out in the country. But when I graduated from high school in '79, that summer I moved up north, in northern Wisconsin, with my mom and dad, and helped them build their log cabin house. And that was a chore. Oh, let me tell you. I was 18 years old then. And after building a house, oh, I've never been so muscular in my life. That was a chore. Then we'll just do this to the backside. And then my dad died in '05. And Mom wasn't going to live up there by herself. Oh, hell no. No. That's just way too cold up there, and she'd have to snow blow by herself. And I mean, your nearest neighbor miles away, and the nearest movie theater was 52 miles away. You know, it was just south of Superior, but it was still in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I just hated living up there. Oh, hated it. And cold. Oh, it gets cold up there. It's one growing season colder than us here. We're zone 5. We turned from 4 to 5. But up there at zone 3, it is just freezing up there. That wind off of Lake Superior is just, oh, Siberia. It's just too cold. Yeah, this is coming along just fine now, Callie Alice. This is much better than that other one. Then we put on the roof. Now I had the problem with the roof before because it was too heavy, and I put it down and the walls caved out. So this is going to be lighter, so I shouldn't have that problem. But you can always take and shave down more, cut to fit. You know what I mean? This gives you just a guesstimation. And I remember now I'm going to probably might have to trim off the roof just a little bit because I think it was just a little too long and you wouldn't be able to see the sides of the house. And this is the roof. That's going to go, I almost want to piece it first. And that's okay if you put too much of the frosting on as your glue. If it squirts out, who cares? Because then it looks like the icing, it looks like snow. Works out just fine. And just put in toothpicks along the side. Stick these right into the edge of the wall, the gable ends. That's the word I was thinking of, the gable ends. I knew it, I just couldn't remember it. How can I forget? I remember because when we made the gable ends on the real house, my parents' house, I know we got all the way to the top, the peak, the very peak of the gable ends. And what was it? I think the very peak was 16 feet high. It was a tall ceiling. And then they put in the main beam, the master beam or the master log, whatever the heck they called it, which went from one gable end to the next. It went one log that was this long of the house. We had a 30 by 40 house. There was one log that went right across those ends. So then your roof would rest on that log, so it wouldn't cave in like this. Oh my, that was, and these ends just went, ooh, they were just swinging even back and forth. Oh, that was scary. That was scary, Callie Alice. Yeah, before your time. Yeah, you weren't even born yet. Oh, your mom and daddy probably weren't even born yet. I remember that too, but like I was saying about the mortar, you know, looked like the snow. When we were putting in the foundation, and I had to bring in the wheelbarrows full of wet cement. Oh, good Lord, no wonder I was so muscular. And it was, you know how wet cement, you know it's heavy, but bringing in a big wheelbarrow like that, and then going across these little planks, you got to follow this little path or whatever. Well, I lost it, and boom, down it went. And Dad hollered at me, "We're not putting it on the floor yet." Oh, he was so mean. Now, you might think, oh, what about this roof here? Not exactly even to a point. Well, you can miter those if you wanted to. Cut them at a 45-degree angle this way, so that when they get together, they form the peak, which I didn't do. I didn't think of it until afterwards. Everybody asks you that question. Well, can you eat it? Well, of course you can. But I don't let anybody eat it because I keep it as a decoration. I had one that lasted me when I was in Minneapolis. I had one that lasted me four years before it finally collapsed. I mean, it was still good. I managed to keep it. It was all dried, hard as rock, but it looked cute. I liked it. I didn't want to get rid of it. About 1 year, the 5th year, I went to open up the box, and it was just broken into a million pieces. But that's okay. I had fun making another one. There, and then we got those 2 pieces here that we cut straight back off the triangle. And these are going to be the chimney. Now these go together. That one there. And the other one goes on top. You make like a little cookie sandwich. Oh, don't say the word sandwich like that in front of Sandra's helper. She used the word sandwich and she's right in your lap. She likes to steal my sandwiches, don't you? Oh, she's just waiting for something to fall. And see that on an angle? See? Just put those 2 pieces together. One's backwards and one's not. But that's the way it is. And then this angle goes right on the angle of the roof. And you want to put it on the edge so that the weight's onto the wall. Now, all we have to do is decorate. And you can do it, there's a million ways to decorate your gingerbread house. Any way you want to is fine. There are cute ways and different ways of doing things. But we can just take and let this dry completely because we want this to be a little bit more harder before we take and add more weight to it. And remember too now, so when you put your candies on, make sure they're light and not heavy because you don't want it to cave in. And put them on where the walls are mostly, on the peaks here of the wall edge of the roof. You can go across here, but make sure it's really light candy, nothing heavy, because you don't want to cave in the roof. So just be careful with the weight wise. But you can put all around there, and then you can decorate and put on and paint on a door and windows if you want. And see how it oozy goozy out on the back here? And that's perfectly fine because I'm going to take and just go over it anyway. But I got dots. That's going to make nice little colors. Or you can put in colored M&Ms or Skittles or, it's endless how you can decorate. You can even take pointed cone-shaped sugar ice cream cones, turn them upside down so it points up, and then use some green frosting and use the leaf tip on your decorating bag and do leaves all around it, starting from the bottom, work your way up to the point, and instant tree. They're just so cute. But see here, we just take and just stick in anything you want. I'm going to space these apart a little because then I want to put like a colored M&M in between or something like that. But you get the idea. And you kind of might want to let that just dry a little bit so that it sticks in better. Because if it's too wet, they're going to just fall down because of the weight. You might have to take and push it back up a little bit. And the frosting dries rather quickly. So it's just like playing with glue. So let's get this all done, and then we'll show you when the house is all finished. Hi, and welcome back to the Northwoods Cooking Show. Callie is having fun with me today because we're just finishing up our gingerbread house. See, didn't it turn out nice and cute? Let me get a close-up of that. Now this is the gingerbread house. And in the front here we have the log pile, which is made out of Slim Jims. And then the patio, that's made out of peanut brittle. And then just take the frosting and squeeze in between the pieces. And it looks like the mortar or the cement. And then we got a malted milk ball doorknob there, and our candy canes coming around. And then I got little M&Ms all around here, the Christmas colored ones, with our Hershey's Kisses on top. And then the roof is made out of ginger snaps. Now I got all these candies at the dollar store, but you can just put whatever you want to. I've used vanilla wafers and cut those in half, and then take the fine tip point on the frosting bag, and then just outline your cookie with frosting so it looks like snow fell on the shingles. Then the frosting too that we made, I gave you the recipe, but it was 3 cups of powdered sugar, 2 egg whites, and 2 teaspoons of vinegar. You want to make sure that you whip that up really, really well for at least 3 minutes. The longer you whip it, the thicker it's going to get. Oh, there's Callie and I waiting for the gingerbread house to fall down. Yeah. She wants her treat. Oh, oh, oh. So Callie, now this is the time for our question and answer period. If you have any questions for Callie or I on cooking or baking or gardening tips, etc., we're more than happy to answer your questions as best we possibly can, and maybe even put them on the air so Callie can get her treat. Let's see who wrote us this week, Callie. Alex. Piece of gingerbread. Dear Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, my friend is lactose intolerant, and I was wondering if there are any candies she can eat that doesn't have any dairy products in it or any milk. Signed, Sarah. Bremerton, Washington. Oh, Bremerton, Washington, Callie. Those are our friends out there, yeah. Large Norwegian community out there. Hello, Bremerton, yay. Yeah, Sarah, you can take in any of your hard candies. That's all they are is just sugar and water and coloring, maybe and flavoring too. They don't have any milk in them at all. Like any of your suckers, lollipops, hard candies, like the ones we have around the gingerbread house here. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. So for Miss Callie and myself, we like to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.